Good afternoon. Today we're going to be working on classifying triangles. I have two different ways I can classify a triangle. We're going to start off by talking about the one we've already done. We can classify them by sides and angles. So we're going to start with angles because we already have worked with the angles this year and are pretty familiar with these. So when you look at a triangle, one way to classify it is just to look at the types of angles that the triangle has. So if a triangle has angles that are less than 90, we can classify that triangle as an acute triangle. If a triangle has lines over 90, we can classify it as an obtuse angle. If it has angles that equal 90, we can classify it as a right angle. So again, one way we can classify triangles is by the angles, acute, obtuse, and right. Okay? Now, this is the new part for today. We can also classify triangles by their sides. So we can look at the sides and determine how many are the same, and based on that we can give it a name. And the names are going to be something that we're going to need to work with a little bit here over the next day or two, and make sure that we keep seeing them so that we remember what they are. So if we have three equal sides, it's an equilateral. Has the word equal in it. Pretty easy one to remember. The other two are the two that I always mix up. So if it has two equal sides, it'll be an isosceles. So you can see here that this side and this side are the same. The bottom is shorter. And then you also have scalene, where you look at it and none of the lines on it are the same. Okay? So again, the three types with sides are equilateral if it has three equal sides, isosceles if it has two equal sides, scalene if it has three different sides. Now, within those, then, if we actually look at some triangles, this is how they're generally going to look when we're asked to classify them. They're going to have angle measures or line measures, or they're going to have these little lines on that we talked about with congruent and similar. And basically that's going to give you your indication as to how to classify them. Once you see the triangle though, you can use both types of classification. You can classify the triangles by sides and by angles. So if I look at this first triangle here that I have, I see in the corner that this is a right triangle. So one way I can classify this is I can say this is a right triangle. Another way I can classify it is I can look at the sides and say, all right, that's a measure, that's a measure, that's a measure. I have three different measures on the lines and the sides, so I can say that this is a scalene triangle. So this is a right scalene. Two different ways to classify there. Okay, same with this. I can look at it. I look at these angles. It doesn't tell me the angle measure, but I can look at them and I can tell they're acute. So I can go ahead and label this as an acute triangle, but then when I look at the sides, I can see that they're all labeled 3. So somebody's taken the time to measure this and that they're all equal. So this is an acute equilateral triangle. Okay? All right, so on these last two, I have measurements, and I want you on your sticky note right now to go ahead and practice classifying. So you need to classify these triangles two different ways. Classify them by angle and classify them by side. So looking at this one, you have a 50, and an 80 as your angle measures. And on this one, you have a 60, and a 60 as your angle measures. So I want you right now to go ahead, classify these two triangles, write your answers down on your sticky note, take them to your teacher, have them check it over, and move on with your math.